Welcome to another day of art. Today we're talking about comics and cartoons, specifically how artists plan and create their characters. Our goals today are I can create art that has to do with the human body, and I can explain why guidelines are important when creating an image. Our big vocabulary for today is size, scale, shape, guidelines, and proportions. When we were talking about shapes, you can think of them as the shapes you see every day, like squares, triangles, and circles. You can use these shapes when creating characters. If you want someone who seems very quick and sneaky, you may use very sharp, thin shapes to create that character. If you want a character that appears very strong and muscular, you can use squares because they're a very strong, boxy shape. If you want a character to appear soft and sweet, you might use round shapes that are soft, like hearts or circles. Size relates to how big the character is. Characters can be tall and thin, or tall and bulky. They could also be short and bulky, or short and thin, or anywhere in between. Guidelines are to help an artist make sure the features are around where they would normally be on a face. For example, there are guidelines in the middle of the face going horizontally and vertically. On the horizontal line, that's where the eyes would line up on the face, and the vertical line shows where the middle of the nose and the mouth would line up. Lastly, proportion refers to the size of different parts. With a body, for example, the typical size is taking the head you are going to use and imagining 7 of them on top of one another, and that's how tall your body should be. So the height is proportionate to 7 heads. We'll mainly be focusing on facial planning for characters today, and we have 3 options to do so. Our first option focuses on guidelines and proportions, as it is practicing making the face using guidelines. Our second option focuses on size as well as the expressions you can have characters express within your story. The third option focuses on size and shape, in that we will be practicing creating character faces using specific shapes. Most artists will do all of these when creating characters to find one that fits their character and the personality and story they are trying to create. These are important aspects to have when creating stories because how a person's face appears can show traits about them. For example, someone with a bulky frame may appear very strong and be able to lift heavy objects, whereas a character who has very soft features may be more of a works with their mind as opposed to their strength character. These are called stereotypes because they are based on what one look at the character is and just assuming things without actually knowing anything about the character yet. Many cartoons and comics do reverse this, however, to make the characters who appear strong very open and vulnerable personally, like personality-wise, and ones who look very soft, for some reason have superhuman strength. And it can take the viewer by surprise and keep them interested in the show, as well as make other characters in the show react differently to that character. These are the big things that we are going to focus on today, so now I would like you to pick one of the 3 options to use for this activity.